talk about the Metro after. Maybe we just try to stick with the Atlantic and predict whether it's going to
Yeah.
be a wild card from here or not, and you know what I mean? Because
The
that's the
only
way I would do
problem
it.
though is top three. All of us are gonna have the same
It's
top
gonna be
three
the
team.
wild card where
I
we'll have a
I
better
think it,
discussion.
Yeah,
but that's okay. That's
that's
fine.
No, that's
okay.
cool. That's cool.
That makes it
Okay,
easier
cool.
because you say
Well,
okay,
if
unanimous.
if we tackle the Atlantic and then we tackle the Metro with the top threes, then we can go into wild cards and then we can
Yeah,
say, who
I
Okay,
like
guaranteed.
it.
cool.
Hi and welcome to the show. Only one topic this week as we give you our Eastern Conference playoff predictions, including some surprising wildcard picks from your favorite co-host Giancarlo. We're gearing up for the year and ready to drop the puck, so please take a load off, relax, and welcome to Hockey for Fanatics. Okay, so who's
Yeah.
going to win? This is an easy question. Who's going to win the Atlantic Division? Come on, I don't think any of us are going to disagree on this one.
Oh,
Who's
I don't know. I don't know how easy of a prediction that is for me.
Tampa? Tampa's got to win. Come on. And is that
I'm with Tampa. I got Tampa first.
yeah? Tommaso?
Uh,
I can't see why not Tampa. Like Florida, I think taking a step back, and Toronto, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know.
that's why I'd say Tampa. Giancarlo, what do you think?
I'm gonna go Florida.
You're gonna say Florida is number one.
Really?
Okay. Either
Hmm.
way. Okay. So if Tampa is there, does anyone else have Florida in their top three?
I do.
Oh yeah, top three for sure.
Okay. So Florida is so far top three. Do I think Florida's gonna finish top three in this division? I think they should.
Hmm.
I think they should. So yeah, I'll say yeah, they will. Yeah, I think they should. And I think that the third, if we're saying Florida and Tampa are up there, are we going to say the Leafs are automatic, or is that
I,
not?
I I have the Leafs. I have the Leafs going top three.
Go ahead, Dave.
Mm, I have them third, but
Yeah.
barely third.
So they're third, barely third. Okay.
I just feel like they've had so many, and today obviously we heard about Tavares being injured. They have other guys injured. Mr. Glass on defense, Muzzin, Lilligren. I mean, they've had so many years where they've avoided major injuries, but I just have this bad feeling this year. I don't know what it is. Just it's either gonna go south or they're gonna go really far. I just can't get a feel yet.
Okay.
But I
So
got them squeaking into third.
third place, Tomas.
Dave hit it right on the nose. Same thing for me. It's that first month is going to be everything. If they, completely fall apart, the goalies don't live up to expectations, they're going to be fighting for a wild card, if that. Or the goalies just provide 900 save percentage. That's all they need,
Yeah.
and they'll be first place. They can have. I think they would have no problems challenging for first.
Yeah.
They'll be right up there.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think that the Leafs are a team that are built from like obviously they've spent the bulk of their money in front of the goaltender, right? So the goalies are going to be not heavily I don't want to say not heavily relied upon because every goalie is relied upon, but you know what I mean, right? Like you make the team in front of you better, and your goalie is that better, is that much more insulated. So I see the Leafs as that type of team. So if you get any type of decent goaltending from a tandem of Murray and was it Samsonov, they
Yep.
should be they should be an automatic playoff spot. And whether it's one, two, or three, I don't know at this point. But I think we're all aligned with the top three in the Atlantic, like Toronto, Tampa, Florida, in any um, order. I think that's
Mhm.
probably the way it's going to go in the Atlantic. But then,
Well, to clarify though, I would go Florida, Toronto, Tampa.
sure, if you want to get you know nitpicky with the order, that's fine. But I mean, we're
Hmm.
talking at the end of the day, getting into the playoffs is the first step, right? Like,
Yep.
are you going to make the playoffs? Yes or no? So then, what about So is it easier to talk about the Metro now, or is it easier to talk about the wild cards now? Maybe we do the
I would
Metro
jump
now.
to the Metro
Yeah, I
just to
agree.
see what our picks are, and then if they're way different, then makes the wild
Yep.
card a little bit interesting.
You're first, Giancarlo. Let's hear it.
I'm first. Okay. Well, my lock, I guess, for this division, and this division is a mess. Carolina is a great season-based team, so I have Carolina coming out. I got the Penguins coming out, and then I think the Blue Jackets grab that third spot.
Oh my God, you're
I like
ridiculous.
that.
Blue Jackets.
Oh dear
Mhm.
God.
Wow, nice.
I'm not gonna write this shit down. So you're telling me that Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Columbus.
In that order, yeah.
Okay.
Tell me you hate the Rangers without telling me you hate the
I
Rangers.
I
I
Just
think
told
I
you.
think
He
like
just told you
Johnny
that.
Gaudreau's going there. They got Cole Sillinger, who I think is gonna really have a huge breakout season, especially playing with Gaudreau. And I think Line is just he can't wait to play hockey. I think his is the most excited he's ever been, and I think we're finally gonna see why he was the second overall pick. So I don't know. I expect big things from Columbus. They got the defense. They got that Werenski kid, who is another one who's begging for a big breakout season. Goaltending is a big question mark, but I mean, I don't know. They got all these like young pieces that could really gel well, and I like them. I think that they're a good team, interesting
Cool.
team.
who's
They're gonna
next?
have not as much expectations,
Well, for me, I have the Rangers top. I mean, they got everything: goaltending, defense. I think their offense is a little bit suspect, but I mean, I still think they're going to have Patrick Kane sometime during the year. So I got the Rangers finishing first. Going to stick with Carolina coming out of there in the top three. And I like the Columbus pick. I have them in my wild card, but I'm going to stick with Pittsburgh. I can't go against Crosby. I can't. Crosby and Malkin, they know this is their last couple years together. What is it, 3 years at least? So
Yeah.
Max.
I'm
Yeah.
sticking with those three. I mean, it's similar to the Atlantic, where it's those top three that are in everyone's top three mostly, but then there's those guys knocking on the door like Detroit and
Yeah.
Ottawa and things. So Columbus is right there. I don't think they're there yet. I think I gotta see how they mesh together. Sometimes you make so many changes, it takes a while. So I'm gonna stick with. I think it's the same three as last year, just different order.
Yeah. I mean,
Cool.
I guess I'll go next because it's the exact same as Dave, so there isn't really much to add to that. I couldn't agree more. Like I think it's going to get more interesting when we talk about the wild cards, but the Rangers are for me the classiest team there. Carolina very close second when it comes to the team that has the most talent. Um, and then of course, like you said, Sid. How can you bet against Sid? So hopefully they can recapture some of their youth and go on a run. But
So of course mine's gonna be different than yours slightly. Rangers, I agree with you 100%. They're going to be the class of the Metro. Carolina, I can't see why they would take a step back. They just, I love their coach. I love their team. They love the structure. I think they can handle adversity, no problems. In and out, different players, no problems. Keep on going. Like I love that about them. But for third, I'm gonna say the Islanders are gonna be back in the mix.
I like that.
I knew
You
you were gonna
guys,
say
I
that.
know you guys say you know how I feel about the Islanders, and I watched them pretty closely last year, and the ridiculous season from hell they experienced last year was just unbelievable. And I think that's going to be a one-off. I think they have um, really unheralded goaltender in Sorokin. Like people don't really know much about him. He is incredible, and I think this year you're going to see a lot more hype around him when people realize how damn good he is. He to me, he's one of the top 10 goalies in the league, easy. And I think with already a good defensive structure, and now this coach is going to be more geared towards offense. I think will be just enough for them to get back into the playoffs because defensively they're already one of the best teams in the league. So if they could just improve on the offense just slightly,
Wait a
that will
minute.
be
You're
enough.
saying best defense, but was that because of Trotz and his system? And now you're saying they're going to go more offense, but who's going to
Well,
score for them?
this coach is basically a pupil of Trotz, right? So his structure, his defensive system is very similar to him, but he's going to give the younger kids from all points, like whatever I see, like Wallstrom is already on the first line with Barzell. That never happened. All last year, that was the big thing with Trotz that people were complaining about was all the vets were on the top six. All the young kids like Bellows and Wallstrom, they were on the bottom minutes and they weren't given an opportunity. This coach is giving these young, skilled, fast players an actual chance, and I think that's huge because you need to. Because as much as winning 2-1 games work in the playoffs, you can't do that in the regular season for 82 games. You just can't. It just takes too much of a toll, right?
No, I
So
agree with you.
who knows? We'll
I
see.
don't know where they're going to get their offense from. I think that was the issue from last year.
Well, they still got
They just
money.
even
They still got money, right? Like I know that we're doing this early, so maybe there's a chance he pulls off a trade. I've mentioned Tarasenko's name a few times. I'm sure that they would want to add something like that. But I hear what you're saying. Like right now, the talent isn't there. I've always struggled with finding their talent base as well. But Tomas was saying like they've always been sort of by committee, right? Um,
Mhm.
and they had an awful season last year. They're basically counting it as a one in like an anomaly season. That's
For
essentially
sure.
what they're banking on, right? They're saying that they had enough last year, it just didn't work out last year, and now this year is a new year, and that's maybe what they're banking on. I don't know.
The good thing about the Islanders, they're not like an offensive juggernaut like the Leafs or Colorado, etc., right? But what they have is just work ethic and defense. So it doesn't matter if they're away or home, they play the same game, play the same structure. And they're going to be just every night like good, they're going to be in the game. So I don't know. I like it's all based on their goaltending. Sorokin is healthy, which he should be. He's young and primed for a big year. They got Varlamov that is going to be a trade chip. Like you said, they got money in the bank to make a trade. If they could stay in just contention, make a nice offensive trade mid-season around the deadline, oh yeah, I could see them being back in it for sure.
They're definitely an interesting team, and the two names that I think that you already mentioned is Kiefer Bellows and Wallstrom, Oliver Wallstrom. Those are definitely two players to keep an eye on.
And even the kid that you were talking about in the juniors, right? Ratty, he's another kid that's really highly touted. He's got like offense coming out of his ears. But the thing was, he's just small, young, and he just needed time to develop. And that's why Lou sent him back because he needs to play a grown man's game. And in the World Juniors, it showed like he was starting to come around. So I don't know. We'll see the training camp what he can do with his shot.
Yeah, because he'll definitely start in the minors, I think, this year, and because he's not a juniors player, he's from Finland, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so he'll definitely start in the minors, and then yeah, who knows? Maybe even makes the team. Because to be honest, yeah, their team isn't the deepest for scoring, and
Oh, he's
if
not
they think
small.
he can score 20, 30 goals.
He's pretty big dude, man. He's 6'2". I mean, he needs to gain some weight maybe, but he's still pretty tall.
Hmm.
Either way, it'll be interesting to see. I like the Islanders. I mean, I know that maybe this is a good segue to talk about wild cards because I had them in my wild card, but not a top three. So maybe we do. Why don't we stick with the wild cards then and say who wants to go first with picking their two wild card teams? It could be obviously from any of the two divisions. Giancarlo, why don't you go first? It'll probably get us going.
Sure. So the first wild card I would take, and is probably going to be the Red Wings. I think the Red Wings squeeze in and grab that wild card spot. Um,
First or
and then
second? First or second?
that would be my first.
First
That
wild
would be my
card?
first. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And then my second wild card, I have. Yeah, that's where it gets a little bit challenging. I think is the second one. I mean, I'm just looking at these teams, and it's a coin toss. But you know what? I think the Islanders. Maybe Russo sold me on them a bit, but I would go with the Islanders as my second wild card.
So basically, you're saying, okay, so that's leaving a couple of teams out, but let's who wants to go next?
This is going to be the most exciting part of the league this year is this wild card race. You have so many teams that have improved, so many. And I'm having a tough time, but I cannot go against Boston. Those pricks are they're always there. Somehow they find a way. They'll find some guy that no one's ever heard of and come up and do something. I'm going to pick Boston as one.
Oh, Dave.
The other one I'm having
Boston.
trouble because I like the Islanders to improve. I like Columbus to improve. Detroit. I don't even have Washington in there yet. It's like this is going to be crazy.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
tough. So you
I'm
think they're
I'd
gonna?
probably
You
switch
think
my pick
Boston's
to
gonna?
Ottawa.
I think that the
Oh,
Capitals and the Bruins are going to squeak in.
but Dave, sorry. So you think Boston's gonna be able to overcome their injuries? Because they got pretty significant injuries coming to start the season.
I think they're going to miss a couple months, right? They
Yeah.
got
Yeah,
McAvoy and Marchand. If they
Yeah.
can
remember
hold
what
the
happened
fort
to the Islanders, right? Like they missed a couple months basically at the beginning of the
I
year,
think with
and they
them
weren't
too
able to come
is
back.
yeah, I think but with them too, they started on the road 13 games and then they never got going after that. But no, I
But
get it,
that's
guys. I'm
exactly
not
what we're
saying I'm
saying, right?
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a coin flip.
Dave, you got
It's
this
hard.
Boston obsession with the Leafs. They're in your heads. I know. You are so
He
afraid of
gives
How
the
them a
many
lot
Bruins.
of credit.
how many years have we said that, remember Mike? All
Yeah.
those lunches, they're done this year. They're on their way down. They're on their way down.
I've been saying it
Until
for
they
10 years, so it
I
hasn't
know
happened yet.
until they're dead, I will not go against them.
Did you hear about this Boston goalie Swayman?
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
was
yeah.
actually
Used to be
hoping
a
that the
Leaf.
Leafs were going to
Yeah.
draft him. Aw, and then they drafted a guy that retired. Wah wah. Very good. Good job, Doofus.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's hard to go against the Capitals too. They have that
Yeah, but isn't
they have that
Backstrom hurt?
experience.
Backstrom's hurt, right?
I
Like,
think he might come back too. That's the pick.
If he comes back, it's going to be late though because it's that hip surgery, right? The same one that Ryan Kessler
Yeah.
had that ended his career. So I mean, there's no even guarantee that Backstrom ever comes back. I mean,
Then
the
I'm switching my
speculation.
pick. I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna go with the Islanders.
I
Okay.
officially switched mine to the Senators. By the way, I took the
holy shit,
Islanders
how
out.
many picks are we switching? Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I know. I said it while everybody was kind of talking,
No,
so I
that's
just
okay.
wanted to make sure everybody heard it.
Okay, so Giancarlo, who's your two?
I got Detroit and Ottawa,
Yeah.
so both
Okay.
out of the Atlantic.
And Dave, you got Islanders and Boston.
So 1 and 1.
Okay. Mikey?
I'm going to say the Islanders and Ottawa. Yep. That's to me, I mean,
Wow.
Guys, all these picks are good.
so that's the thing. Like
So true.
Ottawa or Detroit. Like Detroit is going to be an interesting one because they obviously made a lot of moves to, for the current year, right? So it's hard to project because there's so many things that can happen. Like one key injury to any of these guys, and there's your playoffs. You know what I mean? Like if Ottawa loses one of their key guys, it's over. Playoffs are done. Same thing with Detroit. Right? That's the way I would feel. So I'm gonna predict Ottawa because I don't know, I like the moves they made. I think I like also that they've made an effort to. You can tell that they're making their team better. Getting DeBrincat, getting Giroux, signing their young studs, right? You can tell that their plan is sort of shaping up a little bit. They got Talbot in net. I like Talbot, right? I know Giancarlo doesn't, but I think
Ugh.
that I think that Ottawa has like it's either them or Detroit, and I'm gonna just give Ottawa the nod only because I think they're a little further ahead than Detroit is when it comes to some of their younger players. Like Kachuk and Stutzla are a little bit more mature than Raymond and Sider. That's the only
Yeah,
reason why I would say Ottawa would get the nod for me because and they have the extra backup to help them. But Detroit did well
Yeah.
too with they got Perron, right?
they got Perron, they got
Yep.
Pop,
Yeah,
they
they
got
got Pop
Cusco.
and they got
Pop is out for a bit. I think he had surgery.
and they got Sherratt, right, on the defense. So
Right? Yeah.
Ben Sherratt,
Mhm.
yeah.
and they got the
But now they
goalie.
have
Polak.
expectations. But now Detroit, everyone's been talking about how they made these nice moves and they're due to make that next step. But you know what? Now there's expectation. Same with Ottawa. Every game's gonna matter now. And
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere they had prognostications like for every team. They said for Ottawa, DJ Smith will be the first coach fired. I don't believe that, but we'll see.
Nah,
Because now but I'm saying there's expectations now, right? It's not like,
sure,
well,
sure.
maybe next year that's it. So
It'll be
until,
Sheldon Keefe.
wow,
It's
Sheldon Keefe first fired, and Barry Trotz coming in.
nice.
Oh
Look
my
at that
god.
hot take. So back to the other one, the Islanders. I'm with Tommaso. I think that the Islanders had a really uphill battle last year with the new arena and COVID. It was last year with the new arena, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they had
Mm-hmm.
so the new arena, COVID, so they were like on the road for all those games or whatever. Like it was just so many things went wrong and they just couldn't get their footing. And they ended up turning it around. It's just they ran out of
Mm-hmm.
track. They ran out of track, right?
Exactly.
So I don't think, I am surprised that Trotz is gone. If I would probably feel a lot more confident if Trotz was still there in this pick, but I still think that the team is good enough to be a solid playoff contender. And I'm looking at all the rest of the teams, and I'm seeing more holes. Like we talked about Washington's question marks with Backstrom. Um, I don't think New Jersey's there yet, right? I'm trying to look at all the other teams to say like who you wouldn't pick, right? Um, I don't like Columbus at all. I don't know where the Columbus came from, and I know Dave and Giancarlo. Dave, did you still put Columbus in the wild card, or did you change your mind?
I never had
Changed his
Columbus.
mind.
I never had
He just
Columbus.
liked them.
I thought no,
I,
I
He
thought
I
liked
I
them.
thought I heard
Washington.
you
No,
say no, but I thought I heard you say when
Giancarlo
Giancarlo
picked
picked.
Columbus in third, I
Yeah, but
think.
then I thought,
No, no.
yeah, but he did. But then I thought I
He said
heard you
like it was like a
say,
sleeper pick.
but then I
Yeah.
thought I heard you say they're in my wild card. Okay, that's fine. Either way, I don't.
That's
They're
The,
in
true.
his
You know
battle.
what?
That's what he said.
I started looking at this list and I'm like, guys, there's too many good teams.
there are a lot of teams that are.
It's hard.
It is hard because it's like these teams are all. Are they playoff worthy? Yeah, they could be, right? Like that's the sort of parity of the NHL where the elite teams are at the top, and then there's that middle part, right? There's the middle part of the league that you're going to find teams good enough to make the playoffs, right? And that's that log jam that we're finding ourselves in. But I'm not a huge fan of Columbus at all. I guess I understand why some people would be with getting Gaudreau, and I don't know. I'm not a who's their coach? Hold on,
Yeah, I don't
I
remember his
forgot
name.
his name, guys.
Brad Larson. Is that
How are
right?
you gonna remember that name?
Yeah,
No
he is
clue.
current coach of
Yeah,
the.
no idea.
This guy used to be a player. I remember him as a player. But I mean, like I don't know. I This team for me does not have an identity yet, and I think it's a little early to be thinking they're going to turn it around. I'd be really surprised if a coach can turn these guys around. I don't know. That's just me. If they make the playoffs, good for them. But
Mhm.
I like some of their pieces. I've said it before. I just don't think that they're a playoff team yet. So
It'll depend on their young pieces. If Kent Johnson, I mean, he's on a short list for potential Calder winner. You know, there's a center. He's a center. Then they got that Russian kid Marchenko who looked really good in the KHL. So I don't know. They're interesting. They got these really good young players, and if they do well, they're going to be really good. If they don't, then they won't have the depth, I think, to survive a whole season.
Well, we got to see how Goudreau and Line mesh, right? That's gonna be
That'll
huge.
be another key. There are a lot of question marks in Columbus for sure.
Like when I'm thinking about the Islanders, we all picked the Islanders. I think did we not? Right? All
I
four of
didn't.
us have them.
yeah, yeah, we
No,
did.
Oh yeah,
I
you
didn't.
didn't. It's okay.
Who
But
Yeah,
didn't?
I took them out.
Giancarlo,
what
Yeah, I switched them for Ottawa.
Ottawa.
one
Okay.
one factor for me that is their arena. I mean that old arena with the blue ice, and that was like the worst arena in the league, but yet it had a presence. It had something. There was an atmosphere in that arena that I don't think they have it in the new one. That's a big loss for them, in my opinion. I hated when the Leafs used to play there. You knew they were going to lose.
Yeah, I'm just writing down all these picks because let's just review them again one more time so that we have them here. So I said Tampa, Florida, Leafs, Ottawa, Rangers, Hurricanes, Pittsburgh, Islanders. Right? That's what I said. Who wants to go next? Just to make sure that we have this all.
I guess I'm last, right? Because I'm the only one who didn't pick the wild card teams.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was
you
gonna
didn't
say you
pick.
never
Sorry,
did your
sorry.
wild
My
card
bad.
yet.
No,
Why don't you tell
it's
us then?
okay.
No, no, you go. You go.
So to me, the only easy thing is the Penguins will be one of the wild card teams because they're the one that sticks out. They have an amazing head coach. They got still Sidney Crosby, like Dave said. They got amazing talent still there. They should be more than enough to get them into a wild card spot. The rest, you guys have said everything. Red Wings, Sabres, Senators. To me, they're all the same. They could be amazing. They could be a playoff team, or they could be bottom dwellers all over again. There's nothing to say one way or another. Like maybe this is Buffalo's finally they break through, but we've been saying that for the past 3-4 years. Ottawa looks fantastic. Their top six looks very formidable, but their defense is garbage, right? So I don't know. Like, is their goaltending enough? I don't know, right? Detroit, did they make some moves? Sure, but their goaltending is okay, right? Yedlik and Huso, they're both like kind of really good backup goalies, not really your number one. So I don't know. And then their defense, they have an amazing cider, but then what? They got Sherratt. Okay, I guess, but I don't know. I think Detroit's still all three of these teams. I think are still a year or two away from really like showcasing what they have. I
Mhm.
still think it's a little early for those three teams. Like, could they surprise? Sure, but I still think I don't know. I don't know. And then the Blue Jackets, I'm 100% with Mikey. I don't see it. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't see anything there with the Blue Jackets. So I don't know. I really have no clue. I'm lost for words for that last wild card spot. I'm assuming it's one of those three. I guess that'd be the easiest thing. The Detroit Sabres or Senators. Who knows who's gonna make it?
Throw one. Throw one. Let's do it. Throw one at us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to pick one.
Okay. I'm just gonna be a shit disturber. I'm gonna pick the Flyers.
No,
Come
come
on, you
on.
Oh my
can't do
god.
this.
They
Are
I
you
go
they
for
trying
the
out for the
longest
team? Is
odds.
that why?
The longest odds.
nice.
The longest
Are
odds.
you kidding me?
Tortorella's gonna work them into.
That would be
No, I'm
funny.
just joking.
Yeah, yeah.
See, Capitals are gonna be terrible. Well, they're not gonna be terrible. They're just not gonna be good enough. So if I had to pick one, I guess why not Buffalo? I guess Buffalo's like
I
why
would
not?
agree with you, man. If they had any kind of goaltending, I think more people
Yeah.
would pick them. I think that's their Achilles is their goalie.
Yep.
Who is their goalie?
100%.
Buffalo Sabres
I
goaltender.
I
Whoever's
don't. I
healthy.
hope it's not
Whoever's
that
healthy.
49-year-old
It's
Craig.
not
It's
Anderson still.
they got Anderson.
I
He's
hope
still there.
not.
He is. He's still
Oh
there.
my god.
And they got
Craig Anderson is supposed to be their starter, yeah.
Oh my god. No
Eric
Gotta
way.
Com
keep your pick.
Eric Comrie is the other goalie.
That's right. That's who they
Oh
picked.
my god. Okay, I take that pick back. I just can't. Detroit.
You see
Detroit's my
Detroit?
guy. I'm going with Detroit
Okay.
That's
because
safer.
fuck Ottawa.
Nice. Well, I mean, hey, so let me just review just to make sure that I got all this right because I was writing this down as we said it. So I said Tampa, Florida, Leafs, Ottawa, Rangers, Carolina, Pittsburgh Islanders. And then Dave said, I'm just going to say in the same order, okay? I'm not going to, so Giancarlo's going to yell at me for saying, I picked Florida first, but I'm just going to say the top three, okay? So Dave
Do
said
it.
Tampa, Florida, Toronto, and he picked Boston. And then he picked Rangers, Carolina, Pittsburgh, and he picked the Islanders as the other wild card there. Giancarlo, you picked 5 from the Atlantic. Tampa, Florida, Toronto, Detroit, and Ottawa.
Yep.
And then Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Columbus. The Rangers don't make the playoffs. I don't
How the
understand this
hell
at
is that
all.
possible,
I don't
man? Come
understand this,
Garbage
on.
Giancarlo.
team. Garbage phony team.
Like,
Garbage phony
I
team.
should have, like,
That's
whatever.
amazing.
You know what?
Okay.
What if you're right? You never know, right? Anything's
Yeah, you
But
possible.
never know.
if I'm right, I get $20 from Tommaso. That's all I
Yeah,
know.
I guess.
I think we got to
Sure.
pick also the bottom three as well, just to throw out there.
Bottom 3 in
At
the
the
league,
end,
in the conference? Okay, we can
in
do
the
that
league.
after.
No, in the league.
In the bottom, okay, in the full league, sure.
You know
Um,
that's
Yeah.
what you're looking for, Mike.
Hey, absolutely. Haven't said the Habs at all. And just to if round out the Tomaso picks, Tomaso said Tampa, Florida, Toronto, Detroit, Rangers, Carolina, Islanders, Pittsburgh. Right? That's what I had.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'll write this down and we shall see. Deal.
It'll be fun to look back on this and go, wow, because there's going to be a team that's going to come out of nowhere, and then there's going to be a team that's just going to land on their face. And did you just how? How do you know? How are you
Uh,
supposed to predict that, right?
Well,
Kind
I
of like
want this.
Columbus and New York Rangers. There you go.
Yeah, maybe. I want to
Hmm.
throw in the Devils because no one's talking about them, but whatever. Let them
I
be
you
for
know
now.
what? It's true. I had the Devils. Like I think that they've got a chance to be better. I just don't think they're there yet, Dave. Like Tommaso said, there are teams that are ready to
Hmm.
take the step ahead of them. Doesn't mean that. So, for example, the Islanders are a team that I think are a good playoff team, but they're not a they're not going to be a contending team anytime soon. I think that I would put the Devils ahead of them in contention when it comes to winning a cup. Does that make
Is
sense?
that more skill wise? Because skill wise, you see more
Yeah.
talent.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
saying that the
I get it.
Devils have a better chance down the road. They don't have it now, but they will down the road, and the Islanders don't, I think. I think the Islanders don't
No,
have
I totally get what you're saying. I totally get it. That's why with the Islanders, it's just where's their offense going to come from?
yeah.
Once I see some offense come from them, then I can pick them to go far. But
Well, it's
that's why they keep losing in the playoffs. Those couple of years, they couldn't get over that hump in terms of outscoring a team.
you can't play
They
negative
kept winning
hockey.
those 2-1 games,
Yeah.
2-1. You can't win
Yeah.
always like
I
that.
call it I call it negative hockey. The Habs were, they went on that run playing negative hockey. You can win a series that way where you're stopping the other team, but I don't think you can
Yeah.
win a cup that way. I don't think you can because at some point you need guys to be, chipping in offensively and scoring those goals. And the Islanders are a team that's again by committee, similar to the Habs when they went on that run. Like you get your goals when you need them, but if you don't
Yeah.
have your
No, no,
top end
no. Don't
players,
don't compare Islanders to the
I
Habs
am
though. Like
saying
Islanders were one
I
game away
I
from the
understand.
finals and they
Yeah.
lost one
Oh,
nothing. Like there's a very different situation from the Islanders to those other teams. Like
I
they
understand.
are
Yeah.
exactly what you want out of playoff
I
team.
know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, but they are a little long in the tooth too. They're getting a little bit older, and there's a reason why they haven't been able to get over that hump. Close is close, but it's not winning. I do like the Islanders. I've always liked teams that are in it to win it, and I appreciate them for being that. But they are running out of chips, right? Like you need to at some point you have to make your mark. And I know that they made the Final Four 2 years in a row. That maybe those were the years that they had a window to win. This is again, it's going to be this
Okay,
year.
but explain that to me. Like Barzal's young, their goaltender's young.
Barzal's
They're
an
the two of the
RFA.
best defensemen are just locked up for
Barzal,
8 years.
Barzal's an RFA.
Dobson,
Barzal's an
Yeah, he's
RFA
yeah,
a
after
they're gonna
this year, right?
sure, and but
So
you
that
assume he loves it there. Why wouldn't he resign,
they don't
right?
have any
I don't
money.
know.
So that's where it's going to be a problem for them. They're going to lose one of their goalies as well. So,
Yeah,
Varlamov is going to be so I'm looking at the thing right now. This is really their last year to have a chance cuz once Barzal makes more, which he will, and maybe he won't make as much as he should because it's the Islanders and Lou or whoever, um that's fine, but he's still going to make a lot more, and they've been struggling to ice a team, right? When it comes to putting the cap, putting the right resources into the cap to make sure that it works for them. And I'm looking at their roster now, like Anders Lee's 32 years old, Josh Bailey's 32 years old. Again, not old,
Bailey's gone,
but
right? He's
well, again, he's
Still
got
got
two
2 more
years. He's
years.
got 2 years left on his contract, so he's not going anywhere. I know they've been shopping
you
him.
Pajot is
sure
another
about
problem.
that? You sure about that? That's not what that's Lou operates his own
Oh,
way,
I see what
right?
you're saying. Well, I mean, hey, you're right. I mean, who the hell knows nowadays? You can hide guys for anything now. But either way, like just because you get money doesn't mean you're gonna spend it wisely. Like you're gonna need to sign a player. And I wasn't a huge fan of Josh Bailey either, right? Like I'm looking at their roster. It's just I don't know. They're a committee, a team by committee, which I can respect, but I just don't. I don't fear them. I don't. I don't fear them. Like playing them. Like here's a thing. If Montreal played them in the final last year, I don't think it would have been a cakewalk. I don't. I think that it would have been a series. I knew that when Tampa won, it was over. But if the Islanders were in the final against Montreal, I think Montreal would have given them all that they could handle. And I know that maybe the Islanders would still have won, but it would not have been an easy series for them. No way. Because that, to me, that would have played into the hands of no one's going to beat you. You're going to score against Carey Price with these guys? No chance, right? Like you're going to need to beat a good goalie with a star-studded team, right? Um, anyway, that's just the way I look at the Islanders. They don't scare me when it comes to playing them. I'm more afraid of the physical game that they bring than the actual putting the puck in the net. You know,
Man, that would have been a boring series.
it would have. It would
Oh
have.
yeah, that'd been terrible.
Would have put people
Trying
to
to sell
sleep.
those are the wrong two teams to sell the game.
Oh man.
It'd be 1-0 every game.
Well, it
1-0, 2-1.
it's too easy to build like these defensive teams. It's just way too easy. It's way easier to build a rugged defensive team and have success than it is to build a team the right way. That's I see it clear as day. Like when you get a guy like Tortorella, and you're like, yeah, just hire this guy and he's gonna make us competitive and guys block shots with their face and we're gonna be good in no time, right?
Yeah.
Like that it's way easier to teach that.
Well, mediocre good, right? Like you always talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Play a Stanley Cup threat, but you'll just be good enough to make the playoffs.
Yes.
Good enough to maybe win a round, maybe,
Yes. Yes.
but you'll never be a legitimate contender.
I agree. Yeah. And that's where I think the Islanders for me I don't want to make them sound like that because I actually liked their chances a couple of years ago. The problem is that as years go by, those guys get older, wear and tear comes. You have to start paying your players. That window might have already passed. I don't know, right? I'm looking at it now and I'm seeing more cracks than road ahead of them.